Hi, I'm Erin McGuire, owner of Pure Light Wellness, inspiring you to be in your power, your truth, your alignment in your business and your life. Today's episode comes from a class I taught last night. We have a 200-hour yoga teacher training program in the Cedar Rapids, Iowa area. And in that class, we just did some shares, and a lot of people had some family stuff coming up. And what they were sharing was that as they grow spiritually through the practice of yoga and the yoga principles and all of that, they were growing and changing and seeking deeper connections with people and noticing that when they were around family members, it was really difficult because they're growing, but their family members are kind of staying the same. And they're seeing these patterns that their family members have. One woman shared that her mom can be really like spastic and kind of all over the place. And she was noticing how much that was getting on her nerves. Totally relate to that. And that is 100% part of being on a spiritual path, is that our relationships change as we grow and shift. Our relationships do as well. And that is one of the hardest parts sometimes of being on a spiritual path, because we're very attached to our relationships, especially with our families. We don't want to think of our families, especially our parents, as having issues or, maybe not being as conscious as we are, or not wanting to work on themselves. As children, our parents are like gods. So we worship them, we put them on pedestals, and they become gods. They become not human, right? And then we grow up and we start to see, they have their own stuff that they're working with. We start to see their humanness, and sometimes that can be really hard to see, can't it? So after that conversation, I kind of got this inspiration that was coming through me very strongly from the divine, that we show up to those relationships as adults with our baggage, with our stories, with our expectations, with all the shit that happened in the past. We show up to those relationships with that baggage. And as I was laying in bed this morning, this image came to me that, imagine you have all these suitcases filled with big bricks and rocks that are really heavy, maybe it's a ton each. And some of us have had experiences with our parents that are quote unquote negative every year of our life. So imagine that you have a suitcase for every age that you were on planet Earth. For some of us, that's a lot of suitcases. And you're putting all these suitcases on this table between you and that person. So you're trying to have a conversation, you're trying to have a relationship with this person, but there's all these big suitcases between you and that person. Imagine just a wall, a really long table full of every year of your life and all these suitcases. You couldn't have a conversation with that person. You couldn't connect with that person because that baggage is the wall between you and them. And I just thought that image was so powerful this morning when it came to me. So you can't really have the relationship with the person because, again, that wall is there of all this baggage. And so I want to be clear when I'm talking about this that I'm not condoning bad behavior, or hurtful experiences that your parent or whoever this person is did to you. I'm not condoning that at all. And I'm not saying, just forget about it and it'll go away. I'm not saying that either. I'm somebody, if you've watched any of my videos, I'm somebody that experienced trauma in my childhood with my mom. And my mom and I aren't even speaking right now. It's her choice that we're not speaking, but because I shared my truth. But what I was explaining to this class last night is that what I realized at some point, because it's going on now 8 or 9 years that I haven't spoken to my mom. It's been a long time. And what I realized in that time is that I was coming to her with a story. Anytime I would tell anybody, and still I'm telling you guys this story too, right? That she had a drinking problem. She yelled at me. She did all these things. And that's reality. That's truth. So I share it on video because I want you all to know that I didn't come from some perfect family that was super supportive and loving. You know, I have family members that are very much so, but my intimate family was not that way. And I share this stuff because I want people to know that your mess can become your message. Your story can become how you help others, even your children. So I share these things from that perspective. But I learned at some point that I was holding my mom to this story of being an alcoholic and angry and toxic. And that if I was ever gonna reconcile my side of the street with this, that I was gonna have to let go of that story that I was bringing to the table every time I interacted with her, which now I'm not interacting with her, but I can interact with her on an energetic level. I can send her good energy. I can wish her well. I can wish her health. And I couldn't do that when I was coming from that place of anger and resentment, and she did this and this and this and this to me, right? And so what I was hearing from the people in our group last night is that my mom is this certain way. She always acts like this. My dad does this. He's always been this way. And we're coming to the table often with all of that baggage, and you can't have a true relationship that way. So my advice is, if you can't, find peace in that relationship, then it's time to maybe take some time away from that person. Because a lot of times our society does this to us, makes us feel like we have to be, just because they're family, I'm obligated to hang out with them even though it's painful, and I leave there feeling drained, and as an empath, drained and negative, and that just like it takes me days to. Or like, you don't have to be obligated to anybody, and that's very empowering. Like, one woman was sharing, like, Thanksgiving and Christmas were exhausting because everybody was being so political, and they knew that she was different from them politically, so they were kind of really bringing it hard just to make her, suffer, apparently. And it's like, what if we didn't have to have obligatory Christmases and holidays? I know that sounds hard to understand. We should want to be with our families, but what if you took 1 year off? I'm just offering suggestions because, again, society and your DNA and your subconscious mind will tell you that you have to do things a certain way because that's the way it's always been. You've always spent Christmas this way or whatever. And it can be very toxic. And because of this situation with my mom not wanting to speak to me, I've created different rituals on holidays. It's taken me a while. It doesn't mean that every holiday is fun for me to experience, but it's just to share that you can do things differently. You don't have to do it the way everybody else is doing it if it's not working for you. As you grow on your spiritual journey, these things are going to get harder to deal with if there's a lot of toxicity in your family. So that's a suggestion. Come full circle with this video. If you're going to have relationships with these people, can you work on coming to that relationship without the baggage of the past? Can you leave your bags outside and say, I'm just going to be present with my mom today, even though she has XYZ kind of going on? That's who she is. And I have to learn to accept that that's who she is and keep my boundaries, set my boundaries, protect myself in that way. But while I'm with her, I'm going to be fully present here. And I'm going to do my best to not let the film of the past get in the way, or my expectations of who I think she should be for me get in the way of who she is and of this experience we're having together in this moment in time. That's my suggestion. Give it a try. Let me know in the comment section how it works for you, if this video resonated with you. It's really about being fully present when we're there and doing our best. Doesn't mean we're going to be perfect at it. Doing our best at not letting the filters get in the way and our expectations of who we think they should be. It'd be nice if we had the perfect mom or perfect dad, if you don't have that. But for most people, that is not the reality. And so either we create really strong boundaries to keep ourselves away from that toxicity, or if we're going to choose to be around somebody that's toxic, then I need to create strong boundaries with that and come to that relationship without my baggage from the past and my expectations and my hurt and my pain of who I think they should be, and to just have an experience with that person. I hope this helped. I have mad respect for any and all of you that are dealing with toxic family members. My mom deciding to stop speaking to me was both the hardest thing, but also a blessing in that it helped me to grow into who I am today. But I know my situation is unique and that most people are still involved with narcissistic parents or toxic parents in some way. And so I have mad respect for you all, and I'm here to help you navigate that situation from your spiritual path and from a place of you growing into who you are meant to be, and now having to deal with people that aren't maybe on that same wavelength as you. So again, leave a comment below this video. If you liked it, hit the bell. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. That means the world to me. And share this video with anybody that you feel like could use it. I thank you for being here, and I hope to see you again soon.